Hello, this is episode 306, episode 6 of the third season. It's called Guy Walks into an Advertising Agency, and I'm Matt Weiner, and I'm with...
Lesli Linka Glatter, and I was lucky enough to be able to direct this episode.
This episode, to me, for the season, was really like the Jet Set was for season 2. It was just a production achievement. There's so much, in addition to special effects and things like that, there's just a huge amount of shots and coverage and physical action that Lesli really mastered. I'm going to say that thematically, what was going on in this episode, and it's really the last thing that came to me. It started off with this idea about this lawnmower, obviously, which was related to the country and the city. And in the 60s, at this point, Green Acres, the Beverly Hillbillies, Hootenanny, Hee Haw, all these. There was so much focus on these hillbilly lifestyle as a source of humor, and there was a kind of contempt for it. And we saw this John Deere ad with a guy in a Green Acres outfit sitting on it, and I said, Don's from the country, Ken is from the country, and people do not have any respect for this at all. And this was sort of a series of comeuppances in a weird way for the people who kind of treated that with contempt. On the other hand, what it really became about, and it was the last thing that I really realized, and it's because of this line which Linda actually gave me, which one of the last things to go in the script is he says, what are you afraid of? And she says, I'm afraid of what will happen when I turn off the light. And to me, the whole episode is about this expectation.
Right.
And I wanted to build up the expectations as hugely as possible and then pull the plug on them. So here we are. You want to talk about this scene?
Well, actually, what I loved about this was that exact theme, is Don is so set up for these incredible things that are about to happen to him, and you actually see his enjoyment of them.
Right.
And then to find out that is so not what's happening.
Right.
And I have to say, when I read the script, I was terrified.
Why,
When
really?
I read, oh
Why?
my goodness, I think I went to
This is
you.
so big.
Well, it wasn't that it was so big. It was that if the tractor thing didn't work, it was going to be a disaster. So to me, it was either something that was going to be fantastic, or it was going to be like.
Well, the tractor thing working, is a key part of the whole thing. I always felt every aspect of this is treated with a sense of respect and reality.
Absolutely.
And so everyone is behaving in the way they would behave. And something like this could happen, I'm always defensive about people saying nothing ever happens on the show. A man getting his foot run over by a lawnmower is not an action-packed thing.
Hardly.
But in reality, if this were to happen in your office, it would be horrifying and realistically memorable. So, but anyway, thematically, I love this idea that we see the office, they announce this thing, and there's this British American thing going on. Joan, we know her story at this point is that
She's leaving.
she's leaving, which I think the audience is kind of mystified by. And here's Peggy, not a secretary anymore. Can I just say something about the costume design?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Look at the control of the palette here from Janie Bryant.
She's amazing. I mean, she is such an artist. I looked at this when they walked out on the set. I had seen pictures of everyone. And you see them all together, and it's like, oh, my goodness.
Somebody is telling a story, and I didn't even realize it.
Yes, and that's what's so amazing about working on this show is that from Dan Bishop to Amy Wells, the set decorator, I mean, everyone is an artist who is telling this particular story this way.
Right.
And you have set the world for that to happen in, which is extraordinary.
Well, being a control freak, I'm sure it's limiting to them in some way, at least emotionally, that I'm a control freak. But I really feel that at this point, there's a lot of trust built up, basically between me and them. I mean, and you also,
Absolutely.
where I basically say, like, add something, add something, add something. I want you to add something.
Well, I think people trust also that they put complete faith in the world that you've created, and we get to inhabit that, which is an amazing thing.
Was
This
the whole-
scene
yeah. Talk
blew
about
my
this.
mind. Well, I love this scene because, again, the idea that there's this surprise visit from the British, that no one knows if this is good, bad, indifferent, nothing.
Right.
But the fact that both, both Cooper and Sterling are thinking this is going to be a big day for Don.
Right.
Sets up this sense of
And also,
anticipation.
and Don and Roger have been on the outs for this season, and we know
Yes.
it's related to Jane.
Yes.
And the way that he's sort of Don is mad at Roger, and Roger has some guilt about it, and he knows, but he doesn't understand why it's such a big deal. And I love that Cooper tells the truth. He's like, okay, this is our business. Let's take this seriously. And he just cuts right down to the bottom and says, you two are not friends. Everyone can see it. You're going to make up.
Get it together, boys.
Get it together. The other thing that I love is that we had this thing with the British buying the company, and this is a very realistic business story. Every aspect of this. Josh Weltman was very helpful with this, our advertising consultant, Bob Levinson, who had been through this. The companies buy other companies with absolutely no idea of why they're going to do it. And that's what, part of it's a mystery for the audience and for the characters. The other thing is that, it doesn't read as anything. This was a very exciting moment.
With the tractor coming in.
Yes, we knew this would be fun just to have the tractor in the bullpen.
And also that Ken is so excited about this job and so, unaware.
He's unaware of he's arrogant and cocky, but he doesn't even know that there's any risk of anything. He's just landed another account, swaggers over. Everybody else is worried.
Right. And also, I love just this little detail that all the secretaries go over to the tractor, and Pete has to call his own secretary back.
Yeah, we love that. I felt it was a little bit like a motorcycle.
Yes,
like seeing a guy ride in on that thing. You're kind of, it is a car.
Yes.
I had some personal connection to the lawnmower.
You did?
Yeah, my grandfather ran over his own foot with it, but it only destroyed the shoe. But I had broken a lawnmower of our neighbors, the Sears Kenmore sit-down lawnmower. And he was a businessman, not unlike the people in this show, and he gave me a little lesson in business where he said, I just always associate it with business. I don't know why. And he said to me, yes, I'm sorry.
This was one of your wife's, whose line was this, your mother's line?
This is my mother, yes.
Oh my God,
Only
I'm sorry
boring
to
people are
interrupt,
bored.
but-
Go bang your head against the wall.
Go bang your head against the wall.
This is my mom. She did not tolerate boredom.
Such an outrageous mother.
Well, she gave the kid this name, and there was so much in the show about the expectation of this baby coming, and her getting to see her bond with this baby who can't respond was fantastic. I love this shot, Leslie.
Oh, and I love this set. This whole thing that Cooper sends them to get a shave together that's going to get them back together, which it kind of does.
Yeah, it does. Well, you know what? Now they're all in a common purpose, and Don, just seeing this side of Don, as you said, where he really is anticipating that something amazing might happen.
Right.
And Sally's resistance, this is one of those things that I'm very proud of, that the realism of the storytelling. Sally staying over by the door there is one of those things that people don't realize it, but it's in your gut as a writer. You're worried that people aren't going to understand that she doesn't want to be near that baby.
Well, by her just staying near the door, not even coming in.
We hope that, but
Yes.
it's execution dependent.
Yes. Yeah. I loved this. I loved the magic fingers here and what it did to
My barber
to
still
John's-
used those,
I know.
and I wrote these as jokes.
This guy, the guy who's playing the barber, is a barber.
Oh, fantastic.
When we came in,
I didn't realize that.
Yes, he's an actual barber. Yeah, and she's a manicurist.
That I knew. That I knew.
I love that.
And the barbershop and the music that's playing here, this was Cooper's barbershop. I imagine it was like the one where Albert Anastasia was killed, or in the bottom of some hotel in New York. There's some street traffic noise. There's a little music playing. But this is
such a moment of truth for Roger right here. I don't like being judged.
Right, and I love the idea that Don sort of apologizes, but Roger's whole story about his father, everything. There's a spurned lover quality to this.
Well, apologizing without apologizing is so
absolutely.
great.
He's done it many times.
Yes, no one's ever says what they're talking about, but they're saying everything in the subtext, which is what's so delicious about directing this show.
I'm sure.
Is that it's all about subtext, when most of the time people are only dealing with text.
Yeah.
And if you don't get what's going on in the subtext, you're missing half of it. So more than half.
This is another line from my mother. This is another reference to my mother when she says, are you being mean to me because I'm leaving? Because my mother, that was one of my first understandings of subtext, basically, was realizing that my mother was being mean to me because I was going away.
Wow.
But Joan, I love that he ruined her surprise party. This guy is so good,
He's
Ryan.
fantastic.
He's a great actor. He inhabited this character, and we are rooting for Joan. She is with this man we don't want her to be with, but she has bet on him. And there's been some insinuation in episode 3 with the accordion that it's not going great. Oh, this was a kind of...
I love this scene.
Me too, because you get to see them being a married couple, because there's a pleasurable expectation. And I did something that I do often to both of these actors, which is I threw a ton of business on top of it.
Yes.
proud of the fact that Betty's had her baby, but she's not a stick.
Yeah, perfect. She still has the pad.
That's unusual.
Yes, yes.
For television. And Don he doesn't share his business with her.
She's still clingy.
So here they're talking about Sally, and he's kind of standing up for Sally. And Betty is taking what I think is a traditional parenting view of it, is that she's jealous of this new baby. And Don says, I think it's something more than that.
Right. That he actually is more aware as a parent.
Well, he doesn't like the name either.
Yes, yeah.
They don't know that she literally thinks the baby is a ghost. But, and here there's this moment that I think is like, if we ever wonder what there was in their marriage, to me, you get it here. This
When they're
is a
talking
husband
about
and wife,
London,
yes.
yes,
When they're
I
talking
agree.
about, like,
Possibility.
what if something amazing were to, expectation, all
Yes.
of it.
And I love that he's eating this chicken salad with the Ritz crackers.
This is my favorite food. This
Yes.
is the world we live in, and you
And
know,
there's this smile, this moment where you get what connects them. This scene breaks my heart.
this is a scene that I when I finished writing it, I actually called Christina and read it to her. I said I figured this out, and you know, Sam is amazing in the scene. There's so much humanity in it. It's hard not to be distracted by how amazing looking Christina is in this outfit.
I know, it's true. When
But-
she came on the set, when I saw pictures of this, I was like, oh my.
I know. But I love this, that she there's so much telling the truth here, and talk about an expectation being dashed. And she already has an inclination that things might not have gone well, and she knows he's drunk. Come and sit down. And this guy tells a story to me that I think no one ever talks about, certainly with doctors. And doctors on television, there's such a perverse concept of who they are and what they do. I wasn't trying to diminish them. This guy is obviously not a great doctor. And but he had a dream, and it's been dashed. And, of course, Joan's dream is wrapped up in that. And she's going to be the wife and stand by him. But I just love that she was waiting up for him, that she made a dinner, and that he didn't come home, and that there's no, like, screaming, throwing crap or anything like that. This is what you would do when your husband is hurt.
Right.
And this letter, this quote, he has no brains in his fingers, was something we heard at the beginning of the season when we were trying to figure out what was going on. It was from Maria Jacques Maton's father is an anesthesiologist. We have a lot of doctors connected to the show. And we were kind of talking, and I talked to some surgeons. I talked to my dad, who's not a surgeon, but a doctor also. And this whole medical world it has a hierarchy.
Right.
And a couple of things. That quote is from George, Maria's dad. You know, why getting a bad result as an expression for losing a patient, which is obviously a big part of their lives that we don't have to deal with.
Absolutely.
And then this idea about doctors not writing bad things about each other, that these recommendations would all be glowing and everything, but he's got the writing on the wall.
Right. That he's never going to get his dream.
And that, you know, the best he can do is go on and go around the system and do a residency in some place where people don't care.
Right.
Like, as I
Alabama.
said, Alabama, which a lot of this was a lot of the season was talking about the South, and it's not about my personal feelings about the South, but it was a big part of what was going on in the 60s. It was a continuation of the Civil War. There's no doubt about it. A business decision, civil rights, every aspect of the country was divided along those lines.
Right.
And it's not a coincidence that Kennedy was killed below that line.
Right.
You're still a doctor, right?
Well, this and
And
also
she's trying to
her-
understand this.
Right. And her level of compassion for him. And, you know, there's something coming up that just hurt my heart. When we were doing this scene, it hurt just watching them. Yeah, I think it's some of his best work.
I was blown away when I saw it. Blown away.
That they really connected.
They're a husband and wife, and they're
Yes.
dealing with something terrible. And it's not a money problem.
Greg, that's done.
And she's left her job, and he's like, get another one. And he's not just being a man ordering her around. He's saying, like, I'm screwed.
Right. They're in
He's
it together.
embarrassed.
Yeah, he's
And
embarrassed. I think that's the key. This moment, oh my goodness.
Where he finally comes clean and says, I couldn't even go. I've been, you know where I've
Alone.
been? I've been drinking by myself
Yeah.
because I couldn't even sit around and pretend to toast these people because I'm so crushed.
It's like he's telling the truth. He's truly telling. They're both telling the truth in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
she's not totally, because she's more upset, when she says, tells him to take his clothes off. And
yeah, she's going to undress him,
right, she's going to undress him. That's
as
right.
we do for people when they're drunk. That's not
Yes.
just a 50s thing. But what is here that I do like is she says, I'm going to close the light, which is, to me, sort of ages her for that period.
Yes.
That's an
That-
expression for then. And then she turns off the light, and look at this.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, her feeling in her face there, it just kills me.
So we go from the light being off to this other light being off, and we see Don with this smile of anticipation, and we see Sally with her nightlight and her look of abject terror. It's beautiful. Kiernan, my God, what
She's
can you say
amazing.
about her?
This girl she's some actress.
So here we are. We're in the office, and our expectations are still up high. We don't know who they are, and there's this new guy. Jamie, the casting of Jamie, of course, we have some continuity. We have St. John there.
Yes.
We have Mr. Ford, who I love. I love this guy's accent. I love his old Britishisms. This is not just a reference to the movies. This is a generation of people who were in advertising and who ran Britain, and you can see them made fun of all over Monty Python. And they may have disappeared, but it was a class issue, and the accents are courting.
Yes.
But Jamie was cast, as we said. The audience had to believe that this was the new character in the show, that he was going to be the new, foil for Don, and that this is how it had worked out.
And also
And we rolled this out very slowly. Here we are, Michael playing Paul's character kissing ass by playing the English thing. I'm sorry.
But I love that, finding the way to take them through the office as if they own the place, which they do.
Right.
And setting him up. I mean, to me, that was a huge challenge of, this is going to be the guy. This is a guy, he's not here for one episode. And he's here.
I love this stuff of them like bumping shoulders against the set and everything. It's the way you would work. This guy is a toady, and he is trying to lead them but also be differential. You have the dialogue thing here of this guy repeating his sentences to people, which is something you do as a joke a lot of times, but I felt that this was the secret to his success. He's very impressive. The audience cannot hate him immediately. They may hate him because they think he's going to go against Don, and I love this olive hair.
Yeah, olive is great. I also love the fact that it's a bit like what you hear. I never met Bill Clinton when he was president, but that apparently he would take everyone's hand and say the same thing, but make you feel that he had never said those words to anyone.
Right.
So it was that kind of feeling of, you're a very impressive young man. You're a very impressive young man.
And of course, the detail with the flags on the tables, which I love, and them spiffing themselves up for this inspection. And here's his introduction, which becomes a confusion for people, the audience and for the characters, where they're not sure why he's getting his credits listed and being pumped up by everybody. But of course, the British, they know exactly what they're doing. Right. And I love this, again, expectation, this tension. And I love that Mr. Ford is holding on to his shoes, and that Mr. Hooker has waited by the door there with his clipboard.
Now, the fact also that Don was expecting to be the belle of the ball in this moment, and that's not happening.
Well, we don't know yet what's happening. That's what I love. We have no idea. We know something's up, but they still expect that they're just waiting to deliver this news to Don. Roger sort of suggests it, but I love these little curiosities, these little, it's already eroding. And you always say, I was trying to explain it to the room when we were breaking the story. The script was very, very hard to beat. That expectation is this simple. If I tell you that you're going to get $1 million because you won the lottery, and then you find out that you had the wrong number, you still weren't going to win the $1 million. But it doesn't matter. It was that moment of hearing that really calls into focus everything. This is a very special scene. I don't even know where to begin with it. I love this little part where he's the dresser and helps him with his vanity. Talk about expectation. Lane has completely changed this place.
Well, everyone has it. That's what's so great about this. And it's layered in very subtle ways. I mean, this idea for this particular present was one.
Well, you know what happened is I was shown this at the very beginning of the season as something that might go in Lane's office. And I said, just save that. We're going to use it. I don't know how we're going to use it. But I see it and I thought of the Raj, This is the British, the British, the Rudyard Kipling Cobra,
and his proud face of, Jared.
He's so self-satisfied.
He's so self-satisfied that, my God, they're complimenting him and he's done a brilliant job. What's the next step for him?
And they just throw this at him.
Right.
This is your reward. We are moving you to India. And his face looking at the box, and of course there's all these production issues. What will this box look like? The present has to be wrapped.
Yes.
But it has to be open. You got the shot of it, which I loved. Also, the way this is staged, I love that they're on opposite sides. All of this stuff makes it harder to shoot.
Yes.
I don't know if the audience understands that, but shooting in every direction that you shoot is more lighting. So when you have Mr. Ford across from him and you have him in this triangle like this, it's a more interesting scene, but it takes longer.
Right. It felt like this was important. This was when one is shooting, we have a very short schedule on Mad Men,
to say the
and
least.
one has to really prioritize what's the dollar scene, what's the scene where the story, the show really turns on that scene, and what's the 25-cent scene, if we actually have them. But
And
this
it's hard.
was one.
It's hard not to. This is a thing that's confusing, I think, sometimes to the audience. But you are diminishing your character in a way by having them be dominated. But I also believe that the unfairness that's being heaped on them, their behavior, his grace in this, he's not that graceful initially. He's remaining over there. He's complaining right here.
Right.
Just settled. My son just accepted to school, and now we're moving on.
And then they say this very revealing thing to him, which I find is both British and just the attitude about an underling,
It's
the lack
so-
of gratitude,
Totally.
the
You're-
short-sightedness.
And you're good at listening. You're good at
Yes,
following instructions.
And so here we are. He's numb. He's totally. They continue their characters. You don't have to tell them how to react. They know the scenes after that scene, and Lane has got that look on his face.
But nobody else, nobody knows what this announcement is going to be.
No, and there was a thing here with Don where Don's filled with anticipation. Everybody is. They've just heard about Lane. They're trying to clap.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. Lane, that was not written in. I love that little bow that he does from his seat. And here we see how smooth this guy is, and that Harry is, as usual, over-enthusiastic, over-clapping. It's just perfect character thing for me.
This slide
No.
just...
This chart, the font, the angle of the line,
Yes.
everything about it is thought out, and who the names are on it, and how it's set up. And there's Don. He's going to go to doodling.
Yeah.
He knows now that he is going to be working for this guy, and he's disgusted. And here this guy goes on with this. And, of course, the audience doesn't realize it yet, but this was the big joke about the chart, is that Roger wasn't even on it.
Right.
That their plans for the agency are completely different.
Yes.
Harry moves up. These guys continue to fight against each other. Harry Crane.
Sterling's not on that chart at all.
And Roger hasn't even noticed it.
Right. I love that Roger hadn't noticed that his name isn't there.
And then here, to me, the ultimate insult to injury is they're going to pencil him in.
The man who has his name on the wall is being penciled in by the underling.
Yeah.
On both sides of the pond. Whether it
And all of these cliches, both sides of the pond, everything like that. This is not me trying to write fake British dialogue. There was nothing about what John was supposed to doodle. That was it. I saw that you shot the insert and he was
Yes.
doing American flag, and I just thought that was perfect.
Yes, he just did it.
A lot of this, and we'll see it when we get to the end of it, was about this relationship of America to the world. And that we did have, and it goes back to this thing with the tractor and everything, we did have this incredible, vibrant, creative, brash,
Right.
confident, productive attitude. And we were literally the leaders in this, but everyone was just coming in like a parent and trying to dominate us or exploit us in some way. And we have an inferiority complex. We always have in the arts, in business, and everything. And it's hard not to take British accents seriously, no matter what business you're in.
That's very true. And I love the fact that Guy walks out to make an announcement now. That
Right.
he's a different kind of boss.
We see this, and then here's Cooper is
Apologizing.
and look at Don here. He's horrified. Now here, I love this because Betty's trying to be a great parent.
Yes.
And there's nothing on paper. This is great parenting.
Yes. I remember you talking about this scene.
I didn't know that her dress would be the same as the bedspread. This is a Ginny Bryant special where I basically have to go along with what she wants to do. It's and Kiernan is excited about getting a present. She looks real, but she thinks she's in trouble.
And the
And it's
fact
from
that
Baby Jean.
Yeah, that she didn't even want to touch. She did a number of takes of this, but the one where she resisted
That's
this
what's
one.
in there.
Yes.
And I also love, by the way, I have to mention right away, I should have mentioned earlier, Tom Wilson, who edited this
Yes.
show, was a friend to both of us.
Yes, he was.
Friend to the writer, friend to the director. His understanding of what was important. We had to take a lot of time out of this show.
Yes.
And I can honestly say I don't miss anything. I don't even remember what was taken out, and it just kept going. And this scene, it's hard for people to believe it. I wanted to see her unwrapping this present, you know?
What is it?
But he did a great job. I remember seeing his first cut and going, oh my goodness, he gets all the subtleties of what each scene is about.
Absolutely.
I think he wants you to know.
Because it's not just cutting, again, like everything on this show.
Yeah.
It's not just
he's
putting
totally
the pieces
expressed
together.
The story, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can speak to this, from all of your experience. It becomes something else. And the person with my job is always trying to rewrite it. And the director is always trying to get in all the gravy that they shot.
Yes.
And then you have someone who comes along who's literally cutting down to the bone of the story. This right here, Betty walks out very self-satisfied. This was the Bubblehead Barbie, which was the Jackie Kennedy Barbie that was of the era. And she's uneasy about this.
Yes, and that had just come out, that Barbie.
Yes. By the way, one more thing. Another apex, maybe for the season, was the sound work on the show. The distances that are covered, when we are close to these people, when we're not. The subtlety of how the lawnmower has entered the scenes over and over again. The screaming off stage at the end with Sally. The texture in these scenes is very important. There's Joan over there being singled out. The great irony of congratulations on your whole new life. Look at how eloquent he is.
Yes.
I love it.
All that is good in your new life.
He's totally charming.
She's crying,
Yeah.
but only we know why, which I
Yes.
love.
And then,
there's
of course,
Hooker taking credit for everything.
I love your idea of bon voyage with the ship.
Well, she is a magnificent ship.
Yes.
But I just felt like what else goes on this cake? It's such an office cake.
And again, the fact that we know what's going on with Joan and
Right.
that she has nowhere to go.
There are so many tiny details that are right in this show. They're the ways that she's dragged in front of the audience, the way that you caught the space in here, that Dawn and Peggy are at the very far back, that the underlings are on the side. The secretary's Hildy. She's so good.
She's so good.
She is such a good actress. She's just a three-dimensional, Julie McNiven, three-dimensional character. And then we see the party start. The music starts. This is not Nixon versus Kennedy. There's not going to be a party. This is very uneasy. I love when he says delicatessen.
Yes. And also that he's watching this new guy. Well, who do we need to go kiss ass to now?
Right.
To save our jobs.
And Ken leads the way, and Pete follows with that great look.
Yeah.
And here's Dawn's entire expression.
Not even the champagne is good.
I don't think so.
I'm going to get something to eat.
This is Joan's Bon Voyage party. There's always an excuse not to work, but this is a very uneasy feeling where the place that we know is being taken away from us. And Allison comes out with this information.
The hotel owner.
All of this sort of stuttering is written into the speeches.
Yes, it is.
She does it fantastically. And of course, Conrad Hilton, we do not know who Conrad Hilton is. We don't know that Dawn has met him.
Right.
We know that Conrad Hilton is the hotelier because we've told it, and almost everyone who watches the show should have heard the word Hilton before.
Right. Yes, I would think so.
And then there was a decision here not to show his secretary.
Right.
Even though we were going to shoot it. And that wasn't for time. That was to just build up Dawn's...
Sense of expectation again.
And a breakthrough moment in the breaking of the story.
Right.
From the writer's room and figuring out the story was them saying... Dawn says, when? How about right now?
Right.
Because I am not enjoying it here.
And take anything to get out of this party that's celebrating something else.
And also to show what a big deal this is.
Yes.
How Dawn responds to opportunity.
Yeah. I thought it was a really interesting choice because I remember reading this and going, wow, we're not going to show the other side. We have the actress.
Right.
But it made it so much about Dawn and not about who he was talking to, who we really don't care about.
Dawn doesn't talk a lot, and you have to keep him in the story perfectly.
Yes.
Here's a little tidbit of this chocolate pudding. I mean, this follows in a long chain of executives who are filled with indulgence, and Mr. Cooper's. This is not just his eccentricity. This goes along with a long tradition of people indulging themselves in the middle of the day who have this job. And I just love Roger's bitchiness, and the message of this was a message for everyone, which is we took their money and we have to do what they say.
Right. I thought...
What an incredibly expression of powerlessness.
Oh,
but,
my
but
goodness.
also...
I thought Cooper was profound in this.
Yeah.
by saying, you can't make the deal with the devil and be unaware that you made the deal.
Right.
Especially
Especially since everybody knows Roger's the reason they sold the company.
Yes.
so you can get what you want.
And this concept about accounts, it's such a this is the profound part to me, which is
Enjoy the fireworks.
be an adult.
Right.
You don't need the glory.
Right.
You
You've
get
got
what you
everything,
want, but
yeah.
it's not enough.
It's not
Roger's
enough,
right.
yeah.
Roger's right.
But to me, that was an interesting scene between them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little setup of Mr. Cooper,
Yes.
of Mr. Hooker hitting on this girl. We'll see him when the lawnmower happens. When he comes over, his hair is messed up. He's got lipstick all over his face.
I thought these guys were hysterical.
Yeah. Here's the first mention of Vietnam.
Right.
It was on Life magazine cover about 5 months before this on the calendar. We are in Vietnam. People are concerned about it. It does not seem, probably emotionally and psychologically, it seems like a continuation of Korea. But, just the idea that these guys are too old to worry about it.
Right.
And that the underlings having this conversation about their own lives in the midst of this. I just love it. And this, to me, was one of the last things I did in the thing. I was like, oh my God, this is Joan's. Now I know that Joan is going to be part of the show, but the audience doesn't. And I wanted this to be as convincing as possible. And I wanted everything about this episode to be Joan's farewell.
Right.
And I thought Peggy has to say goodbye to her. And she has to say thank you. And we have to be reminded of that first speech that she had to her, because this isn't the movies. Peggy really remembers that. There's no doubt in my mind.
Right.
And all of their conversations.
I loved that they had that moment together. And then, of course,
And she's about to say the deepest thing to her that she's going to say when the foot gets cut off.
right. Of course.
Which is something that you script.
Yes.
It's hard to, and you executed it perfectly. We had, how do you do the simultaneity of it? And all this is happening in the background.
Right. This was interesting to plan out. I mean, I storyboarded every frame of this because
It's an action scene.
Yes, and approaching it as that, but with all the subtext of the characters.
And I said, I don't want anyone to think something bad could happen.
Yes.
And it has to be Lois. I just want to tell you that in all this time, that this shock would be there, and their faces, that shot, that one take. Breaking the glass, Scott Hornbacher's idea. I always
Yes.
think cheaper. And I'm like, can we do that? And he goes, we have to. Now, let's go to the makeup department.
Right.
That's who handles all of this blood and special effects.
Well, the foot was gnarly.
Special effects department, but the shoe that they built
Was amazing.
with the fake toes gnarled up in
Yeah.
it, based on X-rays of real people whose feet had been run over by a lawnmower, because this does happen. And Jamie's reaction to it. Joan, of course, snaps into the thing.
Which is
Peggy
fantastic.
faints. And his reaction with him banging on the desk, and our wonderful group of extras, and then you cut to the silence. By the way, I've been told that this representation of Miss Wakefield, Hilton's lifelong
Yes.
secretary, it gave some people the chills who had run into this woman. It was based on a picture of her. I cast this woman because she was amazing, and
Right.
she has a lot of sex appeal. This actress, and she was professional and wonderful. But here we have this first meeting of them on equal terms, and
And what Dan Bishop did with this,
this hotel room
I know, with the Bible over on the
on the stand there,
Yes,
yeah, the
yeah.
presidential suite.
at the Waldorf Astoria.
And of course, he really was on Time Magazine. July 19th, I think, was the issue. He really would have seen those. And then you had Josh Weltman come up with this campaign with the Country Mouse and the City Mouse. And then, of course...
Well, it goes back to country yet again in terms of what you were talking
That's
about.
exactly what it was about. And I also... Really, this whole negotiation with Don regaining his bearings.
Yes.
And starting to say, I'm not going to give stuff to you for free, and starting to take this seriously on his feet when he's really been caught off guard. This man knows him, and he didn't know that man. He's embarrassed.
Don, this is friendly.
Well, this is what is so amazing about Don Draper.
Well, the last thing that happened in this scene was
Yeah.
going and writing that speech about the snake that choked to death, which is something that I had learned when I was a little boy. They caught a copperhead snake. I lived in Baltimore, and they fed it. It had been out in the woods. Copperheads are very poisonous, and it was at the school. I love that Don ridicules this campaign, and he doesn't even know that it was Connie's idea. Oops, the client's idea. But they'd caught this copperhead snake, and they had fed it, and it had choked to death, and they'd put it in a jar afterwards. And I just love the idea that Don was not going to, that Connie was both putting him in his place and saying, I just said you could have anything, and that's all you asked for?
Really?
And then Don backing off and saying, I don't need to ask for everything because I'm not going to compromise myself by trying to do everything at once. I'm not going to choke on this opportunity. Great sort of matching of
Two men.
power.
Yeah.
And they do have a lot like each other.
Yeah. Well, even their first conversation when they met at that bar.
Oh, yeah. It's
You know,
very special interaction.
It's very special that these are just two guys. They don't know who they are in the world.
And this relationship established in a minute and a half like this. It's the actors, it's the set, it's the context. And then I love this when she comes in and says there's been an emergency, that Don actually, this baby, all this is in the back of his mind.
Right.
And hopefully the first thing he says is,
Home or office? Do you understand what's happening?
what is it? And then, of course,
Well,
this is a
scene,
comic payoff.
I know.
I just want to talk a little bit about
Yes.
a problem that was solved. One, to brag about the fact that I solved the problem.
You
But,
did solve the
but
problem.
there was an issue, which was their shirts that they had worn in it. I wanted them to have their shirts on covered with blood while the squeegee was going down. John Slattery has 6 jokes in this scene and hits all of them out of the park.
Unbelievable.
But we couldn't use the real shirts because even though it was the same viscosity as blood, and Tom did an amazing job spraying it on them. That's our special effects person. He did an amazing job with this. You always are worried about how much it's going to be and will it be realistic?
Well,
will
do
it
you
be?
remember what I did to those poor actors?
Oh, you should tell that. I can't believe you
No,
skipped
I
that.
totally. Well, what happened is, I told them on the count of 3 that the blood would fly on them. But I knew on the count of 3 they would react before the blood would hit them. So I actually got together with the special effects guys and said, you got to do it on 2 because they won't have any reaction. So they did it on 2.
She totally sandbagged
I
them.
totally did.
And the actor who plays Dale there, Mark, did
Yes.
nothing. They all chose what they were going to do.
Yes.
But anyway, the shirts were so saturated with blood that they were ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Scott said to me, they probably wouldn't wear the shirts anyway. We're going to dust up some other shirts. So I love that they're in their undershirts in
Yes.
different states of undress, and their bloody clothes are behind them. Here you have Joan's bloody dress. Here you have the hospital waiting room, which I love using a set like this because it's so contemporary.
Yes.
It's never changed. We live in these hospitals. Just for the geeks out there, Dr. Pepper, there's been some debate about whether it was in New York. If that slipped through the cracks, I don't know. But that is not product placement. That is just a matter of us picking
Right.
a brand that we can get the real machine for that we know is from that period. And supposedly it was from New York.
I love seeing the two of them just sitting there.
There.
In a 2-shot. I mean, to me, I haven't seen all that many scenes with Joan and Don together.
No, and they're always good.
And they're amazing together. And the two of them sharing this moment.
And here you have the ultimate expression of they both had these huge expectations for the day, and they both had them dashed. And she laughs about it, and her gifts are there. Her dress is covered with blood.
And 1 minute you're on top of the world.
And the next minute it's turned over on you.
It's a terrible tragedy.
It's profound.
And then he does this great comic shift. It's a terrible tragedy. And now they're
This-
even more dire about it than he is.
Yes.
When they say he'll never work again, Don is kind of confused. But I was trying to explain to people, this man not having a foot means that he cannot do this job anymore.
Right.
And I know that seems like a period thing. And certainly we didn't even use the word disabled, that he would be handicapped. And he will never
He'll
golf
never
again.
golf again.
This is a man who is in charge of putting people at ease.
Right. And this would
today-
never put people at ease.
No, it wouldn't. Not in that world and not at that time.
Right.
So this is not up for debate for me. And I love that Lane steps in and says, we'll reimburse you for the dress. And he knows that she saved the day. But
And now he's gotten his job back. Lane
And I
has
love-
gotten his job back.
yeah, well, we yes, that's right. Everything is returned to normal.
Right.
Why wouldn't it? And I love this. We talked about this beforehand. I
Yes.
said this must be. We're saying goodbye to her forever. Shoot it like that. The actress has to think of it like that. Nobody knew. I knew.
Yes.
You knew.
She didn't know
She did not know.
what was happening.
She knew that she wasn't out of the show, but she did not. She knew she was out of the office. She was like, "What's going to happen? Will I be in it?" And I said that every second that you're gone, the audience will pine for
Right.
you.
And her just walking away and them watching her walk away.
And her wiping the lipstick off his face, which is,
So-
I scripted it to say she is the perfect secretary.
Yeah.
She's not going to get him in trouble.
I've been reading a lot of American literature.
And here, this is American literature.
Right.
I'm interested in America because I know that this is a place for possibilities.
Right.
And then he
Like I
says
just
this,
went to my own funeral.
what I think is,
I didn't like the eulogy.
and there is an extra element there too, which is Don Draper is one of the few people in the world who's actually been to his own funeral.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, that's right. And seeing the two of them together on that footing for the first time.
And totally
was,
changed the whole relationship.
Yes. Amazing.
Now, we shot this. The Barbie's been thrown out
Yes.
the window. The audience doesn't know what it's doing out there. Kids do stuff. Don is a great dad.
Checks in.
Checks in. She's asleep. That's good. The nightlight's working. Puts the doll down there. This, to me, is just a comic construction.
Yes. Yes.
And he had a bad day, but everything is back to normal.
Right.
And he did meet Conrad Hilton, but it was...
The expectation of
by-
London
of
and what they
London.
shared, over the Ritz crackers and chicken salad has been dashed.
It is a tragedy with a happy ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the idea, as is
Well,
Oliver.
And doing this scene and have this be real with her screaming.
Yeah.
I got you.
And Don's such a good dad here.
He's such a good dad.
And Betty, I think, has a very good argument. I hate to say it. Betty has a good argument that it shouldn't matter.
Right.
I think if we didn't know her so well, we wouldn't be suspicious. Why does it matter?
Right.
I don't even know what to say.
Why wouldn't she name it after her father? She
Right.
loved him. She doesn't know.
However complicated it is.
Yes.
With
Well,
her father.
Dawn did not want it.
Right.
Her father came to her in a dream, when she was having that baby, when she was drugged.
Right.
Tell me what's going
And I love this, that he,
Grandpa G.
and this is another line of my wife's actually.
Which one?
When she says, and when he grows up, he's gonna sound like him.
Oh, that's great. I
He's
didn't
gonna
know.
talk like him. Talk like him too.
He's a baby.
And thank God we get to do real television. Don looks like he's at the end of a day.
Yes.
His growth is there. His hair's a little beat up.
Go to sleep.
And she looks like she really was waking from a dream.
Ghosts.
Well, that's one of the things that I think is so important, that not everyone is perfect all the time. I love that in the morning, that when you see Betty, she doesn't have full makeup on.
Yeah.
I mean, she has...
She would take it off every night.
Right.
She would take it off every night just as to being good to herself. And here she is. And
There's nothing I can do.
she's on the defensive about this, as she should be.
She's not jealous. She's scared, and it's all because he has that name.
And that Don actually really understands what's going on with his daughter.
And he did not get a vote in this.
She's a
Right.
child. She'll get over it. Now you have
And
to.
that was the prevailing idea. She's a child. She'll get over it.
She should.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he supposed to,
Keep the memory alive.
But it's always more complicated. I love that people do these things and they have unintended consequences, but Betty forced this. And she's right. She should be able to name it after her father. But
Also,
and then, of course, the little girl thinks it's her fault.
of course, I remember being that little girl, hearing my parents fight and thinking it was my fault.
Everything's fine.
And she says she's sweet to her here, as sweet as Betty can be in the middle of this fight.
Right. I love that Dawn walks
Yeah.
Sally into the baby's room. I mean, of course, just a production level,
Yeah.
we were about to lose the baby during
Right.
this.
Oh,
and
of course.
The
And babies have very limited shooting time, as they should.
yes, and yet there were like several pieces that I needed the real baby. It couldn't be a doll.
Well, I was going to have a fake baby because I'm always willing to cut that corner. And
No.
everyone's like, are you nuts? And look at
Especially-
this baby, the
yeah.
sounds, it's all real. That's a real baby. The way the actor responds
is
to it.
completely different than I felt for Kiernan, for the actress Kiernan.
Yeah.
And the two of them together with that real baby would make
she's-
all the difference.
Yeah, and she's afraid of this. And I love what Don says. And if you listen to his speech, it's all about expectation. We don't know anything about who's going to be.
And that she trusts him to lean into him.
Well,
because at first
he
she's
is
sitting
safe.
up very straight and not. And then she leans into him, and they're a family.
He says, don't take this name, don't take any of this. You
Right.
can't tell who someone's going to be. And that the song, of course, that I picked was literally about America.
Yes.
I know there's this thing about a child that's, it's one of Bob Dylan's, just out of envy of him as an artist, that he was 22 years old when he wrote that song.
Amazing.
It's dying and it's barely been born. Hardly been born, excuse me. But to me, that was also about America.
Right.
They have come to us. We were the children of the world.
This
And
song
then
makes
here-
me cry.
Me too.
And I love the three of them just there together, just looking at, the new baby. Can you imagine that without the real baby there?
I did imagine it without it, and everyone told me I was nuts, and now I can't. I'm embarrassed that I admitted it on this commentary, but I need to be encouraged to go all the way with these things sometimes, because I forget that it in the end, that's the audience's experience.
Yes, it is.
But I'm very proud of this, and this episode is a very, very special statement to me about humanity, not just about the show. We did something we hadn't done before, but I love the idea that it was something so tiny, and that's the way it is in real life.
Right.
This is not a world where somebody jumps off the roof. Anyway, Leslie, it's a
that's what it
pleasure.
felt. This was
It's a
so much
pleasure.
fun.
And
Always.
see you next season.
Yes, I can't wait.
Thanks.
Thanks.